Is your hunger still as high as it has ever been in terms of does it never kind of waver despite the results?
That is different when you play for the titles, but we play next Saturday for one title to reach another final. Yeah, energy is still good. With long weeks, you have, when you have every 3 days, you don't have much time to disconnect. Important when that happens is the moment the training be good, relax the players, and the moment of the game tomorrow 3 p.m. is the key.
And, if it's top 5, obviously 6th, if you were to play in the Europa League, what kind of impact?
I will let you know.
What impact? I mean,
I will let you know when we finish 6 or 7. I will let you know. Now I don't know. You asked me for the feelings, what I have to feel in 1 month time. So I don't know. I will let you know. Of course, for all the clubs, it's better to win Champions League than in Europa League. That's for sure. And you have to win it. So we have to. Nothing in this world gives you the things for granted. So you have to do the things to deserve to play next season there.
Mike's just taken my question there. But in terms of the top 5, we've seen big teams who haven't qualified for the Champions League take time to get back into it. Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, United. So in that context, how much of a setback? I know you're not thinking this way. And if you win all your remaining games, you're in the Champions League. But how much of a setback would it be for this club, given you've been in it for 14 years in a row?
If we are not in the...
Yeah.
As I said, it was not good, of course. Tell me if the teams are involved, right? Because Liverpool and Arsenal is already done, but for Nottingham Forest or for Newcastle, Aston Villa, Chelsea, ourselves, ask them. How is the difference? Play Champions League or not Champions League? How, of course, it's important. But what will we do? I guess the club move forward, continue. So this is the idea.
Hi, Pep. In your experience, when players are looking to move in the summer, players coming to a different club, is the fact of them being in the Champions League a big factor for them? Or do you think that City, whether you're in the Champions League or the Europa League, will still be able to attract the same level of players simply because you're such a big club?
It's a good question. It depends on the player we wanted. They just want to move on from they are and just have one option. So it's easier. But if you have many, I'm pretty sure the players take a look to win the Champions League, of course.
And so when you're having those conversations with Hugo or Cheeky, have you got 2 separate lists, essentially, of players who...
No.
It's just a set list of targets who you'll...
For the conversation they have for the club don't have one list for Champions League or one list for relegation battle.
So is it a concern if you didn't have Champions League football that there were players who you or Cheeky would quite like who may say, I'm going to go and sign for a club that are in the Champions League?
Sorry.
Is it a concern that there are players who you may like or may want to sign in the summer? If you're not in the Champions League, they may say, well, no, because I've got
I don't know. Better players maybe come anyway, and there are ones I don't want to go because you are in the Champions League. So I don't know. Like I didn't speak with one player, potential for the next season, so I don't know.
Sure. Hi, Pep. Just to follow from that, with the players who you have already, could Champions League qualification maybe prompt them to come and say, I want to leave if they're not playing in the Champions League?
They have contract, except Kevin, all the others have contract, and the club and his agent decide what's the best. So now I'm so concerned about the club is working, of course, behind the scenes, what you have to do, but I'm concerned about yes and these 6 games and FA Cup, and after that, 1 week, 10 days off, 5th of July, June. Start again, but 7 days before, fly to New States and prepare the World Cup.
Can I just ask about that first game at Goodison Park where the result wasn't good, and I think after the game you said we're not going to win the title, and a lot of those players then moved on in the summer. Was it that game that sort of prompted you to
never is a game like dictate who we are, what do you have to do. Never. The decisions have been made in the training session, the dressing room, in the games and games and games. Not the specific game, but that game we lost it, but we don't lose much in the Premier League these years, but sometimes we lose games. And it's a good lesson. I know how difficult it was Ronald Koeman make in that moment. I remember was there, Lukaku make a good game, so Goodison Park was always difficult.
Hi, Pep. Going back to that Bournemouth stuff we talked about recently and the spirit being back, what was it that you noticed when you looked at that game from November? It sounded like you went, "Oh, okay, that's it. That's what we've been missing." What was that process? What was it that you saw that you needed more of? And how did it kind of feel to be? Was that it? Was that the moment where you thought, "Oh, okay, this is the moment we've worked it out"?
The Premier League were nowhere near that the minimum standards that we have done in the last years. So, apart for the injuries and apart for the mentally we're not there, it's simple. So, in the process of the team, there are moments that you drop, and it happened that season in few parts, and that game expressed perfectly what we were not in the last 7 years. Giving absolutely credit for Bournemouth, don't misunderstand me, but of course to compete against the teams in that league you have to be a minimum, and we are not. And it just realize, I said in the last press conference, realize what we are, what we were, what we want to be, and as much you realize and you turn around or you do it, it's not a problem.
Was it difficult to realise that in between, so November, December, January, all of this period? Did you almost need that time to step back and look at it again? No, I realized that. I realized in that moment that we were not nothing, and after that I remember we went to Lisboa to play against Champions League, and we played really good the first half, and after 1 or 2 minutes second half we were losing 1-3 when didn't shoot 2 shots on target. So and after, sometimes you want it, but the energy cannot, because we have 13, 14 players in that moment. So we could not train, we cannot recover. Now we have 23 training. In the training, in that moment we have 12, 13 players. And in that moment, the day after, we have 1 player for the training recovery, and now we have 8, 9, 10 players. So that players can train, can practice, can do it. Oh, now what, 3 days later, 4 days later, 3 days later, important game, Champions League, because it was the period the Champions League would happen. So, yeah, it happened. Have a lot of problems in that. We don't have enough energy to rotate, energy to be consistent 90 minutes, because most of the games, after 65, 70 minutes, we were there. Brighton away, even Spurs here. We have energy for a certain moments, but not for 90.
Hi, Pep. You've always had a philosophy of working with a very small squad. You don't like players sitting around and not playing. I just wonder if anything that's happened this season has made you change that philosophy. And obviously, you said you had a very busy January, and you said you brought a lot of transfer business forward in a way from the summer. Do you still expect a busy summer and a big squad next season, kind of thing?
Continue the same. I don't like big squad. Now I'm giving 1 or 2 players not even can travel to Goodison Park, and that is terrible. It's awful. It's no sense for that players. Not even go to the bench, stay at home. They go home and say, what I'm doing here. You know? They cannot do their job. And the most important is analyze who will be more reliable than the other ones. This is important. The player can be reliable, okay, we don't need more. The players will be like this season, like the previous seasons, like play just 20% of the games, 25% of the game. If he stays, maybe we'll have another player in that position because it's not reliable. I think more than the quality, because I don't have any doubt. So if you ask me how is the squad, this season is exception. Exception. I don't have any complaints about the club. I never done where I've been, but it's exception. The problem is we didn't have it. If you tell me, analyze the players all fit, Rodriguez and Jones and Nathans and Manus and now Erling 6 weeks off, and all of them fit, the team is exception. But unfortunately during the season we don't have that. The question is next season. If we have the players that they are not reliable and they want to stay here, we have to make longer squad. Yeah. But that is the balance that we have to find, talking and talking and talking.
Last one with Jack, please, guys.
Hey, Pep. Going back to last weekend and James McAtee's performance, did he give you anything that you sort of hadn't seen this season? Anything sort of new going forward?
We have this season because I didn't allow him to play minutes. So I cannot ask anything for this type of players that don't play a lot of minutes. They could do better. No. So in Spurs, for example, was maybe the first games I played in the Carabao Cup, played really good. In the games I played, Maka has this quality, you know, who could score 4 goals? You know, has the ability to create the chances. You know, is there. Of course, the game were better in Crystal Palace, and like you play better, the chances come for itself. So I remember the whole city for the fact that we score 5 goals. You have 4 or 5 more clear chances. In this season, we want to remember against Leicester 0-2, and we have 2 shots on target. So that was not a team like it was in 8-9 years. So it's a team like I said, okay, the opponent scored 1 goal, yeah, the score scored 2 goals, yeah, but we create 8, 9, 10 chances. This season, this team scored 1 or 2 goals, but we didn't create much. And McAtee, when lives close to the box, quite similar from Phil. They are there, a sense. You know, it's difficult to train. A sense of, I make that movement because the ball is coming here, and after he didn't score, but it's fine. So as much minutes he plays, he will score more.
And he's obviously you've had him here for 12 months. So you've seen him every day now after 2 years on loan. He's only got 12 months left on his contract. Is he someone that you want to stay within the squad and sort of someone that you can rely on for the next few years, or?
For the age I would like to stay, but I understand the players have they want more minutes. I understand them, so I would like to stay because I think he's a player for the academy. He knows the patterns. He's a lovely person, a lovely guy, and we train really good. I'm playing different positions. I like him, but I don't know this. Like I said before, the squad, how it will be finished, how it will be end, and we'll see.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Happy Easter, anyway.